Welcome to our last video in the series on Alberta Science Outcome 9A4 about survival of non-human species. This section we are looking at biotechnology. Specifically, students will investigate and describe the use of biotechnology in environmental, agricultural, or forest management, and identify potential impacts and issues. Introduction to biotechnology and management. Biotechnology is a field of science that uses living organisms, cells, and biological systems to develop products and solve problems. In environmental, agricultural, and forest management, biotechnology has become an important tool for improving efficiency, sustainability, and productivity. However, the use of biotechnology also raises questions about its impacts and potential issues, especially when it comes to patented crop varieties, chemical treatments, and selective breeding. Biotechnology can be applied in many ways to help manage the environment, agriculture, and forests. For example, scientists can use genetic engineering to create plants that are resistant to pests, diseases, or harsh weather conditions. In agriculture, biotechnology can help farmers grow more food with fewer resources. In forestry, it can be used to produce trees that grow faster or are more resistant to disease. In environmental management, biotechnology can help clean up pollution or restore damaged ecosystems. Agricultural biotechnology. One of the most common uses of biotechnology in agriculture is the development of genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs. These are plants or animals whose DNA has been changed in a laboratory to give them new traits. For example, some crops have been modified to resist insects, so farmers do not have to use as many pesticides. Others have been made to tolerate herbicides, which allows farmers to control weeds more easily. Another important aspect is the development of patented crop varieties. Companies that create new genetically modified crops often patent their inventions. This means that farmers must buy seeds from these companies each year, instead of saving seeds from their harvest. While patented crops can offer benefits like higher yields or resistance to disease, they can also create challenges for farmers, such as increased costs and dependence on seed companies. Biotechnology is also used to create crops that require extensive chemical treatments. For example, some crops are engineered to survive being sprayed with certain herbicides. While this can make weed control easier, it can also lead to increased use of chemicals, which may harm the environment or human health. Environmental biotechnology. In environmental management, biotechnology is used to address pollution and restore ecosystems. One example is bioremediation, which uses living organisms like bacteria or plants to clean up contaminated soil or water. For instance, certain bacteria can break down oil spills or toxic chemicals, making them less harmful. Biotechnology can also be used to develop plants that absorb heavy metals from the soil, helping to clean up polluted sites. Another application is the use of genetically engineered organisms to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. For example, scientists are working on bacteria that can capture carbon dioxide from the air, which could help fight climate change. Forest management biotechnology. In forestry, biotechnology can help produce trees that grow faster, are more resistant to pests, or can survive in harsh conditions. This can make it easier to produce wood for construction, paper, or other products. It can also help restore forests that have been damaged by fire or disease. However, there are concerns about the impacts of genetically modified trees. For example, if these trees spread their genes to wild populations, it could change the natural balance of the forest. There are also worries about the loss of biodiversity, as forests with only one type of genetically modified tree may be less resilient to disease or environmental changes. Selective breeding in game farming and fish rearing. Selective breeding is another form of biotechnology used in game farming and fish rearing. This involves choosing animals with desirable traits and breeding them to produce offspring with those traits. For example, farmers may breed deer with larger antlers or fish that grow faster. While selective breeding can improve productivity, it can also lead to problems. If only a few animals are used for breeding, the population may lose genetic diversity. This can make the animals more vulnerable to disease or environmental changes. In farm fishing, selective breeding can also lead to the spread of diseases or parasites to wild fish populations. Potential impacts and issues. The use of biotechnology in environmental, agricultural, and forest management has many benefits, but it also raises important issues. One is patented crop varieties. Patents can limit farmers' abilities to save and reuse seeds, increasing their dependence on seed companies and raising costs. Chemical treatments. Crops engineered to tolerate chemicals may lead to increased use of herbicides and pesticides, which can harm the environment and human health. A loss of biodiversity. The widespread use of genetically modified organisms or selective breeding can reduce genetic diversity, making populations more vulnerable to disease and environmental changes. Ethical concerns. Some people worry about the safety of genetically modified foods or the impact of biotechnology on traditional farming practices. Environmental risks. Genetically modified organisms may spread their genes to wild populations, potentially disrupting ecosystems. Conclusion. Biotechnology is a powerful tool that can help solve many challenges in environmental, agricultural, and forest management. It can increase productivity, reduce the need for chemicals, and help restore damaged ecosystems. However, it is important to carefully consider the potential impacts and issues, such as the effects on biodiversity, the environment, and farmers' rights. By understanding both the benefits and risks, we can make informed decisions about how to use biotechnology responsibly. Let's stop and check for understanding. What is one primary goal of using biotechnology in agriculture? Is it to develop crops that grow without sunlight, to enhance crop yield and resistance to pests, to increase the use of chemical fertilizers, or to reduce the nutritional value of crops? Pause now if you need more time. The goal is to enhance crop yield and resistance to pests. Which of the following is a potential environmental benefit of biotechnology? Higher water consumption, increased greenhouse gas emissions, increased soil erosion, or reduced need for chemical pesticides? Pause now if you need more time. What is a potential issue with developing patented crop varieties? Enhanced natural pest resistance. Enhanced natural pest resistance. Farmers' dependency on seed companies. Increased biodiversity or reduced crop yield. Pause now if you need more time. Farmers' dependency on seed companies is a potential issue. How can selective breeding in fish farming impact biodiversity? It always improves it. It can lead to a decrease in genetic diversity. It has no impact on biodiversity, or it increases genetic diversity in the wild with populations. So selective breeding can lead to a decrease in genetic diversity. Last question. What is a concern related to biotechnology in forest management? Is it decreased wood production, enhanced natural pest resistance, increased natural regeneration, or potential spread of genetically modified traits into wild species. Pause now if you need more time. Yes, that potential spread of genetically modified traits to wild species is a major concern. Questions and feedback. If you have any questions or feedback, requests for images, pointing out that there's a problem with the slides, anything like that, leave them in the comments, and I will try to respond in a timely fashion.